Hello, my name is Charles Ardinger, and I'll be working with you as your instructor in the English 1000 class that you're about to start. I wanted to make this brief video presentation to introduce myself a bit, and also to give you some information about the class so you can navigate it more easily as we work through it together. So to begin, a little introduction. My name is Charles Ardinger. Hello. I've been working here at Coastline since 2013, first in the Student Success Department as a tutor, and then as an instructor in the English department, specializing in fact, this very class. Among my colleagues, I consider myself an expert in English grammar. It's really one of my favorite subjects. I like to talk about it and think about it, and I especially like to answer questions about it. So if you have any questions of that kind, please feel free to email me so that we can have that, to me, interesting conversation. That's some information about me. I'm sure that I'll learn more about you from your writing and our conversations as we continue. And I also want to show you now some information about our class so that we can both work it more easily as we continue. So this is our class's home page. It has a fancy logo that I designed myself and a lovely picture of your instructor, but more importantly, it has down the side here and down the middle here a list of assignments and their due dates. This schedule will help you enormously as you keep going in our class. It'll help you know what you're supposed to be doing at any particular moment. That's important because in an online class such as this, we don't meet at a regular time, and so we're all pretty much on our own to keep deadlines. So if you're curious at any moment to know what you should be doing in this class, just take a look at the front page here, check today's date, and see when the next assignment is due. And then you can start working on what you should be working on. That's one way that you can keep yourself anchored in class. Another way is by looking at these regular announcements. I'll be making an announcement once or twice every week, and you can read those announcements by looking up the recent announcement here at the top of the home page and clicking on the title. That will lead you to a page that looks like this. You can, if you want to, pause this video and read this announcement for yourself. What you'll see is that it says what I'm about to say right now. Again, I'll be making these announcements once or twice a week, and they'll concern matters of grammar or issues I see in class or interesting things that have happened to me that I think are relevant, and I will post these announcements for you to share. I won't be quizzing you on the information in these announcements, but I think that they will help you as you keep practicing as a reader and writer. So go ahead and read these announcements when I post them and think about them. And that's one way that you and I can communicate as we keep going in class. Another way to have this communication, of course, is through the grades that I will give you. This is a college class, so you will be doing assignments, and for those assignments I will be grading you. And to find out more, we can go to this link that says Grades. Clicking on the link will get you a page that looks like this, and you'll notice that this page comes with assignment names and due dates. And this particular one seems to come with a grade. So let's click on this assignment and take a closer look at how this grading process works. So when you click on an assignment in Grades, you'll get a page that looks like this. And on this page, I want to draw your attention to three aspects. First, notice that there will be a comment in this area here. I will make a comment of this kind on every assignment you turn in. And what I will do in this comment will be to give you advice on future assignments or ways to make your work seem more academic, more in line with what this class is working on. I'll also give you my reaction to your work as a reader. I'll tell you what I got from what you said. You can decide if what I got is what you meant for me to get and make your revisions accordingly. I also want to point out this link that says Show Rubric. A rubric is a list of criteria and point values associated with those criteria. They're basically how I can generate a score for your work. And by looking at the rubric, looking at the criteria on the rubric, what's a best grade, what's a medium grade, what's the least good grade, you can make decisions on how you want to proceed in your work. Now, for instance, this assignment did very well on this criterion and on this criterion, but on this criterion just got the middle grade. So this student can look at this criterion and say, "Ooh, I need to get that length requirement up. I need to put more words in my work." And so looking at the rubric will help the student succeed in future assignments. Now you can make this rubric go away again by pressing this X. And that means that you can look at this link that says View Feedback. Pressing this link reveals a little copy of the paper that you submitted. And on this copy, I can make annotations. In just the way that I would use a pen to make annotations on a piece of paper that you give me, I can make annotations on this written work by sort of typing between the lines. As you see, this is an annotation. Annotations of this kind will generally involve grammar, ways to make a sentence look more academic or flow more in your reader's mind. And I can do them by typing between lines like this, or highlighting a little phrase, as I've done here, which will lead to this box, which will give a more detailed annotation than I can do by typing between the lines. So if something you've written really confuses me or really impresses me, I might make a highlighted annotation and give you a more complex comment in that way. So looking at these annotations, looking at the rubric, and looking at the comments I make will help you as we continue in class. There are ways that I can communicate with you about what you're doing. But we might help ourselves by finding more direct ways to connect and to communicate. With that in mind, I've developed or instituted what I call student visiting time meetings in my Zoom office. These are recurring Zoom meetings that happen on Thursdays between 1830 and 2000 or 6:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific time. These are optional meetings in which we can get together and converse about anything. Your experience in class, your experience outside class, what you think about English or writing or math if you like. We can just get together and talk. It's a way for us to interact with each other as people and a way to perhaps get you some extra credit in the class. Take a look at your syllabus for more information on that subject. I look forward to seeing you during one of these meetings and to getting a chance to interact with you in a way that an online class doesn't ordinarily permit. And finally, I want to point out these optional grammar refresher modules about comma and other punctuation, about sentence variety, about verb forms, and about some other subjects. These are little automated modules that you can look at and take quizzes in to practice these areas of grammar if you find yourself worried about how you're performing in them. Also, I can make new ones at any time, so if you find a subject that you'd like to see a module about, please suggest it to me, and you may have a chance in that way to help not only me, but the rest of the class as well. And that's pretty much what I have to say about the actual features of this class. So I'd like to finish by saying thank you. Thank you mainly for enrolling in the class. As I often say, without a class, there would be no reason for me to have a job, and so I'd like to thank you sincerely for helping me to keep my job. I've really grown attached to living inside and eating regularly, so I appreciate the opportunity. I'd also like to thank you for the questions that you're going to ask as we continue. I make perfect sense to myself, all the time. I know what I'm going to say, and I know what I mean. So I don't know when I'm not making sense to someone else, and that's where I rely on you. Please ask questions when you see something that doesn't make sense, either through email or through the student visiting meetings. I really hope that you'll engage with the class in that way and ask me lots of questions so that I can keep explaining myself and making my message clearer for everyone. And with all that, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention.